these various dimensions, which show up as relative perceptions of different planes of existence, consciousness. Well, consciousnesses are part and parcel of what it is to be a human if you pay attention to it. If you don't pay attention to it because you're so distracted by your mere physical or sexual or emotional complications and reality or playground, whatever it is for the individual, then these things are like waiting to be realized, recognized, or sort of pulled up for viewing, for attention, for experience, validation, and ultimately mastery. It's about mastery. So if you're on the outer, you're missing out on the inner. If you're too much on the inner, you might be missing out on the outer. So we're talking about balancing the conscious with the subtle conscious, and maybe the unconscious, depending. Because most people who hear what I'm writing about here would say, oh, I don't know about that, I don't want to know about that. That's then unconscious. So to them, there's no consciousness about it. They're not interested. And that's not a problem, because they should be interested in what they need to be conscious about, so they can take care of that and finish that up, so that after this life, when they're going to another one, inevitably, absolutely, right? You're not going to die and just going to wind up in the dirt. You're going to wind up somewhere. It could be at your graveyard, right? You will become a ghost because you're already a ghost. You just don't know it because you're embodied. We're embodied ghosts. Right? We're going to be disembodied ghosts, or we're going to be reincarnated beings, or we're going to move on to a different dimension. If we focus on that, we earn it, and can justify why we need to rise above this plane, then that will happen. We will go to where beings like Jesus referred to in terms of the heavens beyond the heavens beyond the heavens, the planes beyond the planes beyond the planes, the dimensions beyond the dimensions beyond the dimensions, and so on. Sounds great. Right? Who needs Walt Disneyland? We're built to be able to provide ourselves with that. If we turn in, if you don't turn in, then there's nothing else to say about it. It's not your focus, not your interest, and you got to wait your turn until something catastrophically occurs that puts you in there, as it has happened to me. Many accidents stopped me dead in my tracks. Jeep accidents, crash, injury, hospital, boom. But then it's like, I'm knocked out, so I'm going inside. I have no choice, and I'm dreaming. Or am I dreaming or experiencing the inner planes? The inner planes. See? Because I always felt the warmth whenever I was banged up, because, that was my karma as a trooper. Lived this life of the commando. And it has its bumps and bruises. And you have to prove yourself. You have to be super macho, man, to keep up with the cats, right? The boys, the soldiers, right? The men, and so on and so forth. Right? The more beating you take, the more proud they are. It's like, oh yeah, you took that? Well, I did this. And so it's always competitive. Getting back to the real world, however, what the effect was of these mishaps, which were clocked according to my astrology, by the way, was to find more resonance with the spiritual, the psychic inside. And there are wisdom teachings in the East that say, less body, more soul. Less physical, more spiritual. Always the balance. More spiritual, less physical, maybe. Extreme physical, maybe no spiritual. Extreme spiritual, maybe no physical. So we have to balance this out. For people who are into yoga, and that means consciousness exploration, this becomes an issue, this becomes an adventure, this becomes a way of realizing what you were made to experience and who you need to be, beyond yourself.